thank you both so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure having y'all. We were talking a little bit backstage. I know that it is not your first time in Chicago. Liana, is it your first time in Chicago?
It is not.
It is not?
It is my first time in Chicago as like an adult human, so I can like maybe have a cocktail or like a martini or something like that.
Well, normally with these conventions, you see your booth, you see this audience, and then you see your bed. Have you been able to go out and enjoy Chicago at all?
I'm staying a little bit longer.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Perfect.
So I will be exploring tonight, tomorrow, and so any recommendations, please come to my booth. Let me know.
Yes.
Would
or
love.
Throw them up on the
the
microphone.
Rex.
Well, Dermot is a firefighter here,
He
so
is.
Oh, wow. Yes,
he might be able to help you with that.
portray one,
Yes.
but I had spending the whole season here for Chicago Fire, season 13. Got to know the city even better. But you're a first-timer here in Chicago, is that right?
I'm a first-timer. So if you get any recommendations or anybody has any recommendations, I would also love to hear them. Do you have any recommendations?
Well, I like Gene and Giorgetti's for a steakhouse. That's down just bottom of River North, I guess. But and for me, yeah, the best food I find in Chicago is on the set of Chicago Fire, because it's good food. It's also free. I don't know if you know that. They feed us twice.
I heard there's good pizza here.
Yeah.
Is there like do you know of a good pizza franchise, or you kind of stay away from
Yeah, they
it?
know those are either Uno or what's the other one that?
I've heard Illuminati's from people.
No, there's new names.
My boyfriend said Pequods.
Pequods. Okay. Oh,
wow.
That got a good reception.
He's from Chicago, so that
nice.
so he knows.
So
sounds like they like your boyfriend. So.
I do too.
Approval.
We need to go after this. A group trip to Pequods,
Yeah,
I
that'd
think.
be
Yes,
great.
yeah. Well, if anybody has any questions, feel free to go ahead and start lining up. I have a couple questions myself I'm going to ask. So we all, growing up, I feel, have that pivotal horror movie moment as a child, your first horror movie that you see that really stuck with you. Mine, for me, was Chucky. I'm still scared of Chucky to this day. Do y'all happen to remember what yours was, your first experience with like a horror movie or a horror franchise growing up?
So I used to go on the Disney cruise with my parents.
Do you remember which one?
No.
The Wish. It doesn't matter.
I wish. I wish. Huh? See, bad joke. But I remember my mom took me. I was like 6 or 7. Don't judge my mother. She just likes to take me to see movies. But she took me to go see Signs. And the moment when like the hand like goes from under the door, and the fingers get chopped off, and the scream.
They're in the pantry. I also remember that too.
And I too screamed, and I ran out of the theater, and so that was my first memory of a horror movie.
You're like, I'm staying out of cornfields.
Yeah, that's
forever.
It's actually one of my favorite movies now. So
It is really
I think
good.
it's like a perfect film.
Yeah.
But
Now,
it scared me then.
I also love Chucky, so it's like what
Yeah.
scars you as a child becomes your favorite thing as an adult,
Yeah,
I'd
so
say.
true.
Yeah. What about you, Dermot? Do you remember?
Well, the film that scared me the most, I wasn't even allowed to see. I'm in 6th grade when The Exorcist came out.
Oh, yeah.
It was an R movie. Remember how big a thing that was that you couldn't get into an R movie. Now you just, you can watch anything, anytime, and nobody tells you not to, kids, in case you haven't figured it out. Movies are free. And you can watch whatever you want. Do we have any children in here? Get your kids. I'll give them some advice about how to watch dirty movies early. But we weren't allowed to see it, so it became this phantom in my mind. And then the other kids had come back to my elementary school and tell me about it. So that just lodged in as like this horrifying thing. But the high school movie was Halloween. Halloween 1 really blew me away. I was on a date with Monica. Oh, I can almost remember her last name. Terrified, not by the movie, by the date. And I'm watching, and there was like a jump scare, and I pulled one of my braces off of my teeth, one of the bands, and it's dangling on the wire. So that was my first jump scare, and I lost my whole orthodontia fell off.
Well, I mean, No shame. Halloween is a very terrifying movie. Shout out to Monica if you're there.
Yeah.
Hey, Monica.
Gosh, Monica Rose.
There's Monica. Monica Rose. There it is. Well, do you remember your first introduction to the Scream franchise? Was it the Audition? Were you familiar with it before? Did you have a history of loving it? No shame, regardless.
Yeah, I loved the movies. Big fan. I think the first movie came out
Before you were born.
Years before I was born.
Sure, yeah, maybe.
So
94? 96.
Okay, yeah. So I unfortunately did not get to see it in the theaters.
That's okay.
That would have been awesome. But I did, when I was kind of acquainting myself with scary movies as a teenager, to kind of overcome my fear of them, Scream was definitely one of those movies. And then I actually had a friend in Scream 5, and Dylan Minnette, if anyone knows of Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan,
he's amazing.
Yeah.
And I kind of had heard through the rumor mill that, you know, Matt and Tyler and that whole crew over at Scream, you know, they just had like an amazing time, and it was like one big happy family. And I went to go see the movie, and I remember thinking to myself as I left the theater, I was like, man, I'd love to be a part of a movie where it, you know, it's that kind of family and unit and community. And then literally 3 months later, I got Scream 6.
That's
so
awesome.
that was really awesome.
What is really cool about, from what I've seen of Scream 6 interviews, is everybody seems like such a fun family. Like, it looks like camp, like everybody's friends, and it's a big ensemble cast. Yeah. Was it a fun time having so many co-stars, like with the ensemble cast, working with so many people?
Yeah, it was amazing. And obviously, as I've already pointed out, by what year I saw what movie. I'm way older than the rest of the people in Scream 5 that returned for Scream 6, and then they added Jack Champion and Liana into that youth-aged. But you picture the end of that movie. It's a great way that just even the script worked out, where everyone's in that final climax of the film. All the actors are there, so then we're all there, and it took place in that theater, which was this phenomenal set. You can see in the film, but in real life too. We even rehearsed on a Sunday with like no lights on there, just the actors, the cameraman, and the directors. So we literally walked through that like a museum, just like we ended up doing the next day when we filmed it, just looking at the different artifacts and stuff. So it kind of like took on that feel. What I wanted to say, though, is while we're shooting, the whole cast, Jenna, Melissa, everybody, there's a tiny little green room in the basement of this theater, and that was where the actors were sent when they're moving stuff around or prepping stunts and all that. So we were in a room about the size like this, all 8 or 9 of us, sharing Spotify songs and reading books and goofing around. So that made us really close, even across the age gap is also my point there. And that's to you guys, that you're so welcoming to, a person not in your age group, and that we work together as if we were friends our whole life. I definitely, same as you, I know, joining those 4, the core 4, they're as tight as can be. And newsflash, Melissa Barrera and Courtney Cox are like besties in real life.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They already were from 5, and so I'm joining 6, and I'm like, what's up with them two? They're thick as thieves. So
They're besties.
they really are. They're like really close, I think, or were when we were filming it. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I piggybacked off Liana, but what was your introduction to the Scream franchise?
Oh, yeah. Well, I saw Scream in the theater in 90 whatever. Has anybody looked it up? 95.
Did you expect the twist?
No, and Scream was phenomenal at the time, because I would argue that before that, horror films were like persona non grata, and then occasionally like Halloween would come and there'd be a big one, but studios didn't want anything to do with them since like The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby. So I think Scream restarted horror as a studio product that they can sell tons of tickets to youth audience. But my sensation of watching that movie is how jealous I was that I wasn't in it. So a lot like Liana, mine of course took 25 years. Hers only took 3 months, but I envisioned myself in the Scream franchise too from the very beginning. And it only took them 5.5 movies to get around to casting me, so that worked out well.
You
yeah.
got there.
I got there, I know. Well, yeah, if you stick around long enough, they're running out of guys to play the chief of police. So, yeah, that's my plan.
Well, I will to go ahead and take one of the audience questions we have here. Go right ahead. What's your name and what's your question? Hi, Maya.
Can't hear. Maybe
Here, Maya, let's tilt the
I'm
mic.
height
There we
deficient,
go. There we
sorry.
go. No, it's okay.
You're perfect.
So am I. I'm
Yeah.
5'2". Don't worry.
Okay, so my question is, with so many iconic killings in the Scream franchise, what killing do you wish you could have done?
Could have done, like
Yeah.
as Ghostface?
Yes.
Quinn takes out Gail Weathers' trainer. The guy's 6'4", 225. What do you mean? What's not favorite about that? She
She's gonna-
busts him,
She's
takes her
like
down,
Pilates.
flattens Courtney
Yeah, watch
Cox,
out.
and knifes her right to the center of her forehead. That's badass. That's Quinn. That's my daughter.
What
So
can I
proud.
say? Yeah, I train. I'm in the gym a lot. What can I say?
You do get to portray the thing where the Ghostface killer takes just random height differences.
Yeah, yeah.
Like suddenly Ghostface, oh, she's 6'2". How did that happen?
I'm trying to think of some
Platforms.
Yeah. In platforms.
And a cloak you can't see through.
I'm trying to think of like some OG kills. I mean, I think the garage door is like really funny.
The best.
It's just
There's
so-
no sensor on that garage door.
I know, and you're just like, I'm just gonna press this button. I think that's that. I remember being in the theater that we were filming at, and we had not the real garage door, but we had a replica of the garage door in there, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. And you kind of forget. There's like, I mean, Ghostface has so many kills, so. When we were walking around the theater, I was like, dang, that's so crazy that we have all of these iconic moments from the movies. And then I will say, I'm a little jealous that, I'm assuming it's you, but I'd love to be Ghostface with a shotgun.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, that was me.
Yeah.
That is true.
That
But
would
we're
be cool.
self-assigning these. You know, I mean, you guys, if you see Scream 6, there's about 4, 5, 6 killings where you can't tell who's in the Ghostface. You learn later that it could be any one of the 3.
Yeah.
But in the script, nowhere does it say Wayne Bailey in the Ghostface is the killer there. So we don't actually know, too. I claim all of the killings because that's how my personality operates, except this one because,
I think
yeah,
we're-
well, Ethan's in the van with Kirby, and I get my
Yeah.
car stolen
No,
by the
I
girls.
definitely
So I
am
couldn't,
Gail.
none of us could have gotten to that apartment.
I'm
I
Gail
think
in the
you
subway.
specifically say it.
Oh, you're
too.
calling the subway?
Don't you?
Yeah,
You're like, I get to go to Gail because
Yeah.
I died, I think, if I remember correctly.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know I do Gail, and I'm pretty sure I did Mindy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You say it to the sisters, I think. Because
Yeah.
they were like, you died. and you're
No,
like,
like,
no.
Yeah.
So good.
Great question. Thank you.
Thanks, Maya.
Hi there.
Hi, I have a question for you. When you got offered the role to be in Scream, like you said earlier, it was a very big game changer movie back in 1996. How was it when you got told, hey, you're going to be in this movie? And what was the emotions like when you were on set recording the movie?
Well, for me, this movie, I mean, let's be honest, you guys, this movie is a game changer. At my age, to then be cast in a franchise that appeals to such a young audience really refreshed my popularity in my career. So, interestingly, like that's exactly what happened to me when I joined the franchise. It had to do with my generation being used, et cetera, and then turn out to be the bad guy. Everybody saw it, right?
Yeah,
I'm
spoiler
not
alert,
ruining
there
it
will
for
be
anybody.
spoilers in this
But I
movie.
didn't say Ghostface. I said bad guy. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
Ghostface, yeah. But maybe that indirectly answers your question. Yeah.
I was going to ask, when you got the script at first, when you were auditioning, did you know you were auditioning to be Ghostface? Did you get the role and then they were like, by the way, you are Ghostface?
Yeah.
I think we
How'd
had
that
different
go?
experiences.
We did. We just compared notes on that.
Yeah, I would love to hear about it.
Well, I'll tell you, they sent me a third of the script 3 days in a row, totally encrypted with passwords, and so they're so careful about letting this, the content out. And it's hard to explain, but they told me I was Ghostface. My agent told me that the producers needed me to know that I was Ghostface. But then they neglected to tell me which part I was playing. So if you're reading the script, you don't know who the Ghostface is until the end, so I had to reverse engineer it. On the third day, I finally realized Oh, I'm Bailey. You see, it's very confusing to tell. When I was reading the script, I thought I was the psychiatrist because he seemed so fishy. And there was extra stuff in his scenes that didn't make the cut. But anyway, I was wrong, and then none of us knew that it was all three of the killers. I mean, all three related killers, yeah. But yours was kind of the opposite of that.
Yeah, mine was different. So I.
They didn't even tell her anything.
No, they didn't tell me anything. So I got the audition, and it was something they're called dummy sides. So they're not real. They're not from anything. And
Sarah is in high school and she loves soccer.
Yeah. It was like my intro scene. So it's my interaction with Sam, and it was like a version of that scene. So I put myself on tape, and then I ended up going to Italy for a friend's wedding, and I got a call being like, "Hey, so the directors and producers of Scream want to meet with you," and I was like, "I don't remember auditioning for Scream," and they were like, "Yeah, you did. It was that really cryptic email that you got with those sides," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. I'll be back on this day," and they're like, "Okay, so." Obviously, it was me and a lot of other people. I know that the same day that I read, I know that Devin, who plays Annika, she was reading that same day, and none of us knew. Like Josh Segura, like we all received. I believe it was Amber from Scream 5. Her kind of her monologue in Scream 5 of like her kind of being like talking about being a fan and being a killer, all this stuff, and we had to do that monologue, but everyone got that. So and it was made very clear to all the actors that were reading that like this doesn't mean that you're a killer. We just all want to see that you can perform it. So
they were deciding at the same time who the killer was.
Yeah, maybe. I don't. You never know. And so, but I had so much fun doing. And I had obviously seen Scream 5, but I intentionally Mikey Madison, as we all know, is so brilliant, and you don't want to rewatch that performance because you can never replicate that. And so you kind of want to make it your own. And
she does it in a very specific way.
Yeah,
and if you did it the same, they would be like, she's just Mikey Madison.
Right. Well, and you're also like, well, that's already been done, and you can't, you can't do that. So, I sort of did my own version of that, and then I found out I got the job. Still didn't know. I was in the middle of my fitting in Montreal a few months later, and I was just wrapping up my fitting, and they were like, "Hey, actually, we need you to try on one more outfit before you leave." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And and then they brought out the Ghostface outfit,
That's so cool.
and I was like, glitched. I was like, "Sorry, what?" And Matt and Tyler were like, "Surprise, you're not dead." I was like, "What?" And then I didn't actually. I remember Tyler, our director, one of our directors, kind of sat me down my first day of filming and kind of gave me the origin story of Quinn and how I'm related to Dermot and Jack. And that was fun, though, because especially Jack Champion and I, because we're in scenes together, I don't know if you could spot it in the movie at all, but we make a lot of we have moments where when Sam and Tara are we need to leave town, we get to kind of have a moment of making eye contact with each other. And
I need to rewatch it. That's
yeah,
cool.
I don't know if it makes it, but we definitely planted a few of those moments in the movie, which was really fun.
Do you happen to remember the project name of the script, the dummy script? I'm always very interested in that. Because they named the script something different, so people don't know what they're auditioning for sometimes.
Yeah, it was Blackmore.
Blackmore. Ooh.
I think because that was the name of our college.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank
Great
you so
question.
much.
Thank you.
Hi there.
Hi, I'm Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi,
Kelly.
You guys are in a lot of different types of movies and TV shows. And Dermot, when we found out you were on Chicago Fire, that was so exciting. Do you guys have a favorite genre of TV, movie shows that you guys?
Gosh, I don't know. I've gotten so much out of horror. I have to tell you, it's amazing. I mean, Scream's such an exception. We're so lucky to be a part of it. Westerns, and I got really my biggest first movie was Young Guns, and just tapped into Westerns throughout. I think you were asking what our favorite type of movie is.
Or favorite genre to film?
Oh, yeah, horror and Westerns.
I love horror movies. I'm such a big fan of them. I feel like there's nothing more therapeutic than just acting like a complete psychopath for a whole day.
Do you have any coming? Do you have any more horror on the shelf?
You know, it's funny. I have
Thriller,
like a stream of horror
Yeah.
movies, like horror comedy,
Yeah.
where I'm either like brutally murdered or I'm a killer or something like that,
Love
or
it.
I'm involved with a killer.
Yeah.
So I honestly think, I mean, I'd happily take more if they
Yeah.
came my way,
Yeah.
but I feel like people are like, girl, are you going to do like anything different?
No, no one
Well,
thinks that.
regardless of what
Really?
Liana does in the future, stay tuned. We
I
have such a
agree.
great star here. It's so
you're
fun to be
Criminal
a
Minds,
part of
too.
the.
Oh, yeah,
Another
Criminal
iconic
Minds.
franchise.
Yes.
My roommate always has Criminal Minds on.
Oh,
so
yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
the new one, I was like, guess who I'm interviewing this
Oh,
weekend?
well,
She's like,
tell her hello.
Criminal Minds.
Yes, I'm a crazy person in that one too.
It's great.
It's really fun. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Nothing. You're very skilled. That's what's wrong with you.
Thank you.
Great question. Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
the microphone is still open for anybody that has a question. Don't be shy. They obviously do not bite. They're very nice.
We're
oh,
nothing
great.
like our characters.
Yeah. They stab a little, but they don't bite. Hi there. What's your name?
Hello, my name is Angel.
Hi, Angel.
Angel.
What's your question?
Well, I know it's a really basic question, but if you guys had like one thing from set to take, what would it be?
You mean, a prop or an item? Is that what you mean? Anything like that? I don't know why I
person.
Right away, yeah, person. I'd like to take Liana to the Scarefest weekend in Chicago, Rosemont.
Oh, wow,
so
that's
I love that whatever that evidence bag that has the old Ghostface in it that I talked to Kirby about in the police station. That for me just is the most iconic prop that I even got to work with on the show. So that's probably in storage somewhere in Montreal.
Oh, yeah.
But I loved that scene that I got to hold the mask. And then, of course, at the end to say, Sam, I'm going to need you to put this on. We just love the mask. Love the mask.
I tried to steal my knife like multiple times, and they were like, "You're gonna have to give that back."
Give
You
what
can-
back?
Yeah, I was like, "What are you talking about?" No, you guys just. So they gave me like like so many times I tried to steal it. So in Scream 5, Jack Quaid does this like knife flip that they wanted me to do. Just to sort of give a call back to us being siblings and whatever. And so they gave me, at first they gave me like a plastic knife, and then they kind of graduated me to a really dulled out version of the knives that all the Ghostfaces use. And so I was practicing a lot with that one. And I really wanted to keep it because it was dull. I wasn't gonna hurt anybody with it. And so, but yeah, they took it from me. So that's unfortunate. I do have. It's amazing. Our costume designer, she was so lovely, and she thought of this really cool Easter egg for Quinn, where she wears like a tree necklace, sort of to hint at like the family tree and us sort of branching
that's
out.
cool.
And I do have that necklace. I did get to take that. So
Nice.
that was nice.
I rewatched part of the movie last night just to like get excited. And I noticed, I don't know if anybody else's did, but in the theater, it looked like your Ghostface outfit was sparkly.
Mine?
Yes.
They're all sparkly.
They are? I was going to ask.
Yeah,
Are they all
slay,
sparkly?
Ghostface.
They're fabulous.
Slightly sparkly,
Yeah,
just a touch. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the way that I was surprised when, I don't know if you were, when I tried it on, I was like, okay, girl, like get it. And
Well, what is this fabric?
it's so the camera can like capture the cloak better, I think.
movement.
Yeah, because
makes
it's
sense.
if it's just black, it's hard to capture like the depth of and
That
the
makes
movement
sense.
of it.
Liana thinks that I tried on the Ghostface costume.
Oh my god.
But
I'm
I
so
never
sorry.
did I? Right? I am a Ghostface who has never seen
Oh, yeah, you weren't in it.
taking it off and revealing. My reveal for being Ghostface is just shooting Kirby.
You came out in civvy clothes.
Civvy clothes.
around-
In khakis.
Yeah.
Like, how more innocent could you dress?
You ripped the cloak off behind the scenes.
Right. I
Right,
just shoot
right.
Kirby, and that's
Fortunate.
the face reveal.
Yeah, that is.
That's so true.
That is.
I'm so sorry.
No, I wanted to. I thought
Sorry,
that I
those-
would be, and they're like, no, because they wouldn't
really-
share the script with us. So I thought, if I'm Ghostface, anyway.
He's just
Yeah.
a dad in khakis.
Just the
and
dad,
the
just a
kids
cop,
Get to wear
just
the
a
Ghostface clothes.
grieving father.
Yes, yes.
Totally understandable.
Thank you so much for your question. So a knife, and then obviously your evidence bag.
Yeah.
Those would be good. Those would be good. Hi there.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi.
How you doing?
What's your name?
I'm Franklin.
Hi,
Franklin.
Franklin.
I hate to break the flow. This is actually a question about Chicago Fire.
Lay it on me, man. What's going on?
Well, as a longtime Chicago Fire fan, I'm wondering how you feel to be as actually not you, an outsider, but as a character, the outsider to come in that we were all very suspicious of.
Yeah.
To suddenly come in and have to play this very complicated character that through the season we didn't quite trust, weren't sure what your real motives were. And of course we've all come to trust you, and you had just such a complicated character who's gone through so much to
so
earn our
right.
trust. And yet the team, they kind of trust you, but they still aren't sure that they want to keep you around because
I love this, man.
well, you know, you're still an outsider. How did it feel
Franklin,
to play
you,
this character?
you absolutely nailed my entire season in that one statement. I don't even think you put a comma in it. Well done, sir. But you're right. I'm so blessed to be playing this incredibly complex character. And let's be honest. Let's compare this character to other characters that have entered Chicago Fire. He's way far and above more interesting. So they had to have somebody interesting to replace Eamon Walker as Bowden, who everybody loves, your favorite uncle type of chief. So Pascal, my character, walks in way different than that, lays down the law, gives them the what for, and they're not so sure about it. But then over the season, I start to reveal that I'm really on their side and I've got their back, right? So that's how it plays out. But it's been incredible. I've never in my life played a character for this amount of time. I'll tell you, this is definitely a spoiler alert, because I don't think, unless they announced it late Friday, season 14 is a go. We kind of knew that, but we didn't know if Pascal was coming back, and I am. So we're very pleased about that. I'll be back in Chicago in July. Thank you. Kind of made that like a big announcement, but they'll be putting that in the paper soon enough. So it's a real privilege, and especially today, over the weekend, I met a couple of CFD's real firefighters who were portraying. So maybe you're in here, you guys, and your families. It means so much to me to be regarded that way and to be doing an authentic portrayal for those guys who really run into those burning buildings. So it's an incredible job for me. So different, such a brand new experience, a long-form storytelling that I've never done. So it's brand new. And once again, like on Scream, I'm the new guy who's the old guy. So I kind of like that position these days. And I work with incredible people on that show who've been there from the start. Taylor Kinney and David Eisenberg, Christian Stolte, Miranda Ray, Mayo as Kid. Incredible group, incredible. So thanks for tapping that. Stay tuned if you're on this season, because we got a lot left in store for you. Got three or four more episodes to air.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Great
Appreciate
question.
it. Thank you.
I didn't. There's so much to Chicago, because there's Chicago Med as well.
Boring.
There's another one, right?
Yeah, Chicago PD. Yeah,
PD.
it's a little late and it's
Yeah.
dark, and they seem to just
Chicago
run
Fire's
around
the
in the
best
dark.
The best one.
Best one, right? We're also the most expensive because of the incidents and stuff. So
Pyrotechnics.
and these, yeah, really it is, and stunts and everything else, where the other shows wouldn't need that quite so much. So here too, to be honest, it's really rough time at the top of the heap in network television, because Chicago Fire runs like number 3 and number 4 most popular show, but they can barely afford it. So they're making cuts, painful cuts. Some of the cast, just to be able to continue that whole empire. They all kind of rest on each other's success. So just the nature of the business. Fewer younger people, obviously watching network television. So the advertisers aren't paying as much. So the thing's a little shaky, but we're making it through. We'll see you for
stream
14.
Chicago Fire tonight. Yep.
Yeah, or even better, watch it when it airs.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
true.
and if they air it again, watch that, because guess what? Actors get residuals. If you watch it on the streamer on Peacock, just the same, none of the creators get any compensation in success like that. So that was the original concept of residuals and all that, and just went away with streamers. So. Or watch it on an airplane, because we get residuals for that.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Now I'm like going around with my hat in my hand for residuals. It's ridiculous,
I'm
but
gonna put it on
Well,
Even
the
if I'm not
concept
watching
of is that we know that artists can't work all the time because of the vagaries of art, right? And so you want to cover a young actor with some residuals while they're waiting for their next job. It's very simple. It's very humanitarian. It's very labor forward, right? And it's very hard to sustain that structure in the modern industry. And, you know, young actors have it so hard. Thank God Liana's already established, but people trying to break in, there's no way to get your nest egg. There's no way to get that support money so you can continue. So you see a lot of people flash and burn now, whereas before they kind of like in my generation, you know, they kind of built you, gave you another part, talked on the phone about who to hire next. It was a much different ecosystem. So it's real iffy right now.
You have to have
really,
a real passion.
yeah,
I would say,
yeah,
and a love for it.
and a day job.
Thank you for your question, Franklin.
Thank you,
It was a
Franklin.
great question. Hi there.
Hi, I'm Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good. So I have a question. Was there any parts in the movie, just for both of you guys, that were ad-libbed and they kept, you know, that weren't supposed to be in there? And
What's yours?
I have one that I just love.
Oh, dude, you were nonstop.
I was
He
ridiculous.
was-
There's some that they even released of these outtakes of that final lunatic scene. Some of it making it up was just ridiculous,
I know the
unusable,
one
it's
you're
just
gonna say.
terrible. But the one that made the cut, I didn't plan. A lot of that ad-libbing, you plan it beforehand. All right, I'm going to go in there and you think of some funny lines and you do them. This one just sprung forth. So I'm on the stage and I'm pointing at Richie's film, right? And then I turn around and I look up at the movie, his brilliant movie called Stab, and I say, there's a very special bond between a father and his first son. And then they cut to Jack Champion, the second son, and he has this slight little weird.
He's like,
He's
but I'm the
just mildly offended. That one just came out of thin air, and then it made the cut. So it was really funny because it was real too. You can make shit up, but if it's not real, it's not going to work. This was the father who was so in love with his son that got killed that he's willing to kill the whole village, right? So, yes, thank you for asking that. Did you slip anything in there? You were really crafty with your dialogue, I got to say.
Thank you. I have to say, I mean, the scripts are they're written so well.
Yeah,
and
you can't mess with them because then you ruin how brilliant they are.
so much of it is true to what is on the page. I know I accidentally, I think, and I've had to sign this a few times before, but sorry if there's kids in the audience, but I say shut your whore fucking mouth. And then I think it was scripted, shut your fucking whore mouth. But I think that Matt and Tyler thought it was funny that I messed it up. And they're like, man, keep it that way. And I was like, okay.
It flows better.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that
And then
line is so funny.
Right before I die, when Sam's up at the top of the theater, and I kind of come and we sort of have that standoff. It was just scripted that I'm walking towards her, and I was like, I need to do something, and so I just was like, I'm gonna start spitting blood and scratching my knife down the side of the railing.
Very creepy.
And that was just sort of, it just felt like I needed to be more menacing and do something different and sort of taunt her like I'm kind of playing with my food. And Matt and Tyler were like, oh yeah, that's really interesting and cool. So they kind of adjusted and got inserts of the knife scraping and sort of used that
They
to
enhance that
amp up
sound.
the
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
So that was really fun. It was something really wonderful about Matt and Tyler is they have honored this franchise so well and they care for it so much, but they've also hired people that they really trust and sort of give them the ability to find their place in the franchise. And they're very they give us a lot of liberties, a lot of freedom, and I really appreciate that. Coming into a franchise like this, you're intimidated, and it's big shoes to fill, and they sort of allow you to fill your space and be creative. And so I really appreciate that about them. Yeah.
that's wonderful, and we appreciate both of you guys. Dylan, I see your movies
Thank you,
everywhere. I
brother.
look forward
Thank
to
you.
seeing your stuff in the future. You guys are wonderful.
Thank you,
so
bro.
much.
Really
so
appreciate
much
it. Thank
for
you.
Wonderful years of entertainment.
Oh,
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So cool. Thank you.
Hi there.
Hi, I'm Nick.
Hi, Nick.
I had a question for you, referring to like how you prepped for the role. Like with the original movie, obviously you had to like watch it to kind of get a feel for things. Did you guys have a favorite character or somebody you didn't want to try to channel? I know my favorite character was somebody who was in there for like a second. I had a huge crush on Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, we all did.
Did you say we all did, or did you?
Yeah, we all did.
Yes, but that's universal. You answer.
I think that I mean, obviously, I'm a fan of the franchise as well, and again, you don't want to pull from other people's performances, and I think that's what keeps the franchise so fresh. Is that people are always bringing their own takes from it, and I think for Quinn, I mean, she's angry and she's hurt, and so that's sort of in terms of preparation and intention behind my character. I didn't want to play like this psychotic, crazy, like just dying to kill character, because that wasn't Quinn. Quinn wanted justice and revenge for her brother, and so ultimately that's sort of what I tried to put behind my character. Yeah.
Honoring that, I did kind of the opposite. No, honestly, I went straight and watched Scream 1 that night when I got the part, and I just thought, that's your blueprint. This is not that the doing of it was easy, but the figuring out of it is done for me. I've never had a job like this before where there's a whole template. So I knew I had to just talk in through the whole movie, obviously, just be like normal cop, and then lose my shit at the end, just like they did, just like Stu and, Skeet and Matthew did. So I very much wanted to ring that same note, that same bell. So a lot of that plays in how, I guess on the ground or inside me, it really meant that I had license to go that big on screen. So much of my career, it's been about making it really human and really, not controlled, but like more realistic, right? But since they created what our realism is for Scream as a whole, I just lifted that. Then I watched Scream 2, and by then I arrived in Montreal. Courtney Cox invited us, maybe you were there that first night, where we all started at different times, to her condo and cooked dinner, had a beautiful salad and all that. I was so touched to be invited. And during that evening, I said, Courtney, so nice to see you again. I agree, the 3 episodes I did on Friends are the best of all the episodes. And I only watched Scream 1 and Scream 2 so far. And she said, oh, we'll skip 3 and 4 and watch 5 and you're good. That's Courtney. She said skip 3 and 4. So I did. So I didn't base any of this performance on anything from Scream 3 or Scream 4.
Smart.
But then, of course, I needed to see 5, so I knew the Carpenter. I was up to speed with the current story. And it's a brilliant movie, Scream 5.
Well, thank you guys.
Great
Thank
question.
you.
Thank you. Hi there.
Hi,
Hello.
my name is Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
I just have a question. Since you guys have now worked together on Scream,
Yeah.
what other horror movie would you guys love to be in together?
Oh, gosh.
Together.
Well, I'd do anything with Liana. She's, I mean,
gosh,
you can
likewise.
see. Thank you. We just hit it off great, and with Jack, too, we had such a great chemistry within that larger group. I would do anything with Liana. Like I said, just stay tuned. I just know how much you have to offer the world of entertainment. So let's figure something
sweet.
out.
Oh my God, I'd
love
love
to.
that.
And Liana's a screenwriter, and is as of about 5 minutes ago, she's decided, well, she was encouraged to write a part for me. So
You're gonna be my
No
muse.
bribery, nothing involved.
I would pair up with anyone from this franchise
Yeah.
anytime. It goes without saying. It was just an incredibly special experience, and I've had many of them, and this is such a standout group of actors, and the script, the directors, everything is just.
Let's
Right
do a
on.
horror movie where we survive at the end.
Let's survive at the end so we can do
Yeah.
the sequels for once.
But it's fun to be the bad
Gosh.
guy. Maybe we can be the bad guys that live.
The bad guys that live.
Yeah.
In fact, that's a great title.
The bad guys that live.
Just give away the ending.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Well, I know y'all live in the world of NDAs, but do you have anything coming up that you're able to talk about for us to look out for and watch you in soon?
Yeah, no,
Obviously.
I don't sign any NDAs,
Perfect.
and I like to I spoiled Scream 6. Does everybody remember that?
Oh, I don't. What happened?
We signed an NDA, which I didn't really read very well. And it says I'm allowed to say that I'm a cop and I'm a father. Those are the only two things that I was permitted to say when, if asked, when they released that I was being cast. So I was doing press for another movie, and they said, I hear you're in Scream. And I say, yeah. And I say, and my daughter gets killed, so... Right, I gave that all away.
Dermot.
That afternoon, the Paramount PR department urgent Dermot Mulroney, subject, shut the fuck up. Really, the emails came to the agent, came to me. So
I could say I was a dad.
yeah, I forgot about the part but
That worked out for me.
but right. Even that was a lie because she doesn't die, right? So it wasn't a spoiler. That was right. So I felt okay about it after all. I have 2 other horror films that I finished. Tiny little low-budget weird movies. So I hope you enjoy when you can find it. Dead of Night. That actually has some feel of Scream where the daughter's investigating the murders in town and so forth. And one called Dead and Breakfast. Yeah, like Bed and Breakfast. It's ridiculous. Don't check in that Airbnb, don't even do it. And they do, and then all the shit flies. So look out for those. They will not be of the quality of Scream 6. So bear with me while I do B-movie horror movies.
Those are sometimes the best movies.
They're going to be great. And the cast I work with, believe me, these directors are really cool. So they'll work out. But you know what I mean? You just never know. There's a little more unstable foundation than coming into a franchise that knows what the hell they're doing.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. So.
Thank you.
I currently have a show on Peacock that's very similar in this world. Serial killers, comedy. It's called Based on a True Story.
Okay.
And then I have thanks. And then I have a couple of things that I don't know if I can say yet because nothing's official.
Okay.
But keep on the lookout. It's definitely still in the scary movie world.
Yes. A soon announcement.
Yeah, it's an interesting time in this industry, and it's a miracle in general to get anything made at this point.
I agree. Yeah.
So I don't want to hang anything over that we're not 100% sure is moving forward yet.
Yeah.
Well,
But
we'll
fingers
keep
crossed.
our eyes on your social media and be
Okay.
like, there it is.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I please get one more round of applause
Oh,
for
you
Dermot?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so
And
much. Thank you. We love you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I believe y'all will be at your booths soon after this. So please, if you have any other questions, swing by their booths. Any comments? Any cookies to give?